me and Jed have butted heads about the moon landing thing, and we eventually are just like, all right, let's just stop talking about this and move on.
Yeah.
Because I know it's real.
Jed firmly believes that we've landed on the moon, and I'm not saying that we haven't, but
And
I think
can
it's
counteract any argument against it.
I think it is
either now
very
or
interesting, the argument against it, and I do lean towards that we didn't.
You know, Soviet Russia monitored the whole thing with their own equipment and corroborated. So if this was fake to win the Cold War, wouldn't they be the most interested in confirming that it was fake? Not monitoring our TV signals. They monitored our spacecraft.
Blaine, where are you at?
Union say yes?
It's bullshit. I believe. Listen, Santa's real too, Jed, and I believe in him deeply. And
Hey, Santa's
so
real.
I feel you. He's
I
real,
believe in
dude.
Santa more than I believe in the
Listen,
moon landing.
I saw a video on TV and Santa was in it, and he's real.
That's right. Dude,
You know?
I saw the Santa Claus movie with Tim Allen.
I saw it. Yeah, it's real. You
Yeah,
know?
dude.
The moon landings are fucking real, guys. What's your gold nugget of proof? Because the flag waving one has been debunked a million times. The
I've
shadows
seen
are
that
completely
Mythbusters episode.
explainable. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've seen that
The
Mythbusters
footprints are
episode.
completely explainable. The Russians monitored everything and confirmed everything. They had the best reason to lie against it, but they corroborated the U.S. Why would they? Because the whole argument of why would you fake this was to look good in the Cold War. If your opponent in the Cold War monitors the entire thing with their own equipment and says, yes, you did it,
So
that's clear cut, man.
So if we went, and we very possibly could have went, there's a lot of sketchy thing. All the footage is pretty much fake. All the footage
it's
is
not
pretty much fake.
All right, so the frame rate thing is what people talk about a lot. They had to film at a lower frame rate to make the transmission easier. You guys know how...
Okay, you're telling me that some of the footage was not done in a studio? I'm not talking all of it, but most of it was
not
done in a
what the
studio.
broadcasters say is real. There is test footage that they have that they label as test footage. But no, there is footage that was live streamed from the moon.
You're telling
there
me
is footage that was recorded on the moon and brought back and developed here.
that wasn't destroyed through the radiation belt and
All right,
going
the
through
radiation
the atmosphere?
belt is blown out of fucking proportions. You guys
Van Allen
cherry pick
radiation
science. You're like, these scientists say this radiation belt is here, but we're going to ignore them when those same scientists say, hey, it's not that big of a deal. That's called cherry picking. The radiation belt. Do you guys know that you guys receive a massive dose of radiation just living?
Well, yeah. I mean, every time I fire up my microwave.
No, just the open air is irradiated. One of the most irradiated things you can do is fly an airplane. Bananas are radiated, for God's sake. And think about this. Have you ever seen a candle?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a candle, right? And you can pass your finger over a candle going quickly. You don't get burned. Or you put water in your fingers, you put out the candle, right? It's the same idea with the radiation belt. You go through it fast enough with the protective shell that it's not a problem. It's a matter of exposure. Like you hear doctors talk about this all the time. When you're getting x-rays, the person getting the x-ray doesn't need protective equipment. They're going to be fine. But the doctors and the nurses who administer these tests hide behind a wall because it's repeated dosage. The dosage passing through the radiation belt is minuscule because of the protections of the spacecraft and because they're in it for so short of time. They don't orbit in the radiation belt. They cut through it. The radiation belt is not a problem. The same scientists that you guys listen to saying, hey, the radiation belt is a thing, are the same ones saying, yes, and we solved this problem. Why believe a scientist say there's a problem, but not when that same scientist says, here's the solution?
I have a few problems still. The fact that we somehow lost and destroyed the technology and we haven't been back since. That's weird. How do you just fucking lose or destroy the technology on purpose and now you can't replicate it when this was done in the fucking 60s? And
so this is talking about the Saturn V rocket, which is incredibly difficult to build. They haven't lost the knowledge of how to do it. They got rid of the equipment to do it because of how expensive it was.
Another
thing, don't need it. The space shuttle program replaced what was going on before. The space shuttle mission isn't designed to go to the moon. So it's not that they can't replicate it. It's just they got rid of the stuff to build it actively, quickly.
Do you truly believe that Neil Armstrong dialed up the phone and fucking called JFK or Nixon and said, "Hey, bro, we're on the fucking moon right now. How you doing?"
Yeah.
That's fucking bullshit.
That's how transmissions work.
That is fucking bullshit.
She used a radio signal to contact mission control, and they forwarded over
fucking way that Neil Armstrong is just
why doesn't that make
"Hey,
sense?
bro, dude, we're on the fucking moon right now. What are you doing?
Why doesn't that make sense? You can talk to someone in fucking Australia.
There's no way.
How do you grasp your head around talking to someone in Australia around the curvature of the Earth? You realize that people have been communicating over long distances for a long time. It's a fucking radio signal. Before you say light delay is a problem, it was, 2.6 seconds of light delay. That's minuscule. That's more than enough to have a conversation with someone. You transmit the radio signal from the lunar module down to mission control, and then they use the traditional telephone signal to get to the White House. That's not all that crazy. We do that every day, using your cell phone to call up a satellite, to call down to a landline. That's the same idea, just on a different scale, and there's nothing stopping scale. With radio signals, they travel at the speed of light, and they're not inhibited by anything in outer fucking space.
I don't know, man. I'm just not buying it.
This is a matter of listening to confident people who just don't understand things. So this is what's the concept called? Personal incredulity. If you're not able to understand something or believe it, you dismiss all of it in its entirety. You just need to learn.
But there are a lot
works.
of very credible scientists that say that a lot of the stuff that they tell us is bullshit. So that's the thing.
Can you provide a legitimate example? Because I actually researched this stuff. I watch YouTubers about this stuff. I listen to flat earthers, and every time it's somebody I heard said something who kind of worked for that.
I'm not into the flat earth bullshit.
Flat earthers.
I'm not doing all that.
Space is fake and moon deniers. They're in the same camp. Ignoring evidence. They're ignoring evidence.
Group.
Using personal incredulity and just ignoring facts because it doesn't make sense to them. Flat earthers say, I can't see the curve, therefore it can't happen. You guys think,
we're not talking about
the moon's
flat
really
Earth.
Far away. No, it's the same idea.
It's not the same idea.
So it's not real. You guys say, oh, the moon's far away. How could a signal get that far? The answer is there. You just need to look for it.
It's not just that. No, there's a lot more than that. There's a whole lot more. There's a lot of the documented things about all of the people involved in the sketchy shit that they did after the moon landing. And have you heard the files?
The documentaries that have been debunked?
No.
You're just listening to people saying things confidently. The moon landing is not fake. The Soviets would have said it was fake because they weren't monitoring our TV transmissions. They were monitoring our spacecraft. And the footage from the moon, because it looks weird, that's because of a frame rate. They did lesser frame rates so that it was an easier transmission to send, and then they sped it up when it received on Earth to transmit it to the public. That's why the footage looks all like jumpy, kind of weird. There's explanations to all of this that are real scientists, that are real scientific explanations. And when people are saying that in chat, I listen to YouTubers who are saying the crazy shit, like the Earth is flat, to understand their arguments.
Yeah, I'm not in the party of Earth is flat, space is fake, all that bullshit.
It's the same thing. It's ignoring evidence.
But the fact that we went to the moon,
personal incredulity.
Or it's people that believe everything they're shown and told and don't challenge the official narrative on anything.
Does it sound like I'm not challenging? I'm researching. And I research all of this stuff. I do. I try to make accurate space travel for my books. This isn't a matter of just believing anything. There are things that I disagree with. There are scientific theories that I lean one way towards or another. But when it comes to facts and logic, I knew this was going to be controversial coming on here. But yeah, the moon landings aren't fake,
everybody in chat is with you. Me and Blaine are the ones getting roasted. Everybody's with you. The Van Allen radiation belt, the fake footage, and the fucking phone call from the fucking moon.
Like
down
I said, you're listening to the
scientists
scientists say the Van Allen radiation belt is real, are the same ones saying this is how we solved it. Why are you cherry picking what these scientists are saying about the Van Allen radiation belt? The radiation belt, just like the candle, they're going through it so quickly. If they orbited inside the radiation belt, that would be a massive fucking problem.
So the logic that I've heard about the radiation belt,
fire, you're not burnt.
So the logic I've heard about the radiation belt, the Van Allen radiation belt, is that to safely pass through it, through rotation is every couple of centuries, there's a pocket where you can go through it at its thinnest point. You're still going through it, but you're going through it at its thinnest point where it's not doing an incredible amount of radiation damage through you. And with how many centuries it takes to do that, it's during that time period, it would have been impossible.
That's talking about going through as an individual unprotected person. Those periods of lesser, like those, everything goes through cycles when it comes to astronomy. The sun does 11-year cycles, our magnetic sphere goes through cycles, and the radiation belt is no different. So there are dips in its radiation density when a human being could pass through it in a spacesuit. But we're talking about a spacecraft specifically designed for it, people going through it at such high speeds that it doesn't become a problem. That candle metaphor is the perfect one. If you put your hand on a candle, you're going to get burned. If you swipe it through, you're going to be fine. And especially if you dip your fingers in water, the outside of the spacecraft, you can extinguish it. These are things on such short periods of time with enough protection that this little belt is not that big of a deal. The same scientists who are saying, yes, the radiation belt is real, are the same ones saying, yeah, and this is how we solve it. It's not that big
a question. I'll just ask this.
Conspiracy theories latch onto it, but it's nothing.
Do you think that there's a possibility that they went, but they didn't go when they said they did or in the way they did, and they didn't broadcast it the way they did, televise the way they did? Maybe that was fabricated, but maybe they went at some point or around then or whatever, but what was shown was a production. You don't believe that that's a possibility?
No, we went many times. There were several Apollo missions. So
do you think we haven't been since because what they found on the moon they didn't like?
No, because it's a ball of rock. There's nothing fucking there.
Hold on. Do you
Actually, the moon rings like a bell inside, so it could potentially be hollow.
Do you?
You guys see Moonfall and take it to heart?
I've never seen.
Honestly, I have no idea what Blaine's talking about. Do you think that this is a possibility that when they went up there, they did everything for show, for the television? We called Nixon, hey bro, what up? And then go dark, go do some exploring, found something they didn't like, took the information back, and it's like, fuck, we probably shouldn't fucking do this anymore.
No, they went back like 3 times after that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, you only have so much time you can be up there. So they needed to get as much information as possible. They went up there, got
a bunch of samples, and then they realized, hey, it's just a bunch of rocks. We don't have the technology to make moon bases yet, which we're still struggling to figure out.
Maybe the aliens just go back. Maybe the aliens were like, hey, bro, we need to have a longer conversation. You got to go, come back a few more times, and then we'll end the conversation.
No, I don't believe
that was sarcasm, by the way.
It's hard to tell when you say things of equal insanity. Differentiating the serious from the sarcastic is difficult. But yeah, the radiation belt, not a problem. The flag
I just
waving,
love how
it makes more
passionate
sense.
Jed is about this, and how
I fight conspiracy theorists on this all the time.
He's like the.
I really
like
don't see a difference between flat
Jones.
earthers and moon landing deniers.
You don't see a difference, really?
I don't. Because it's the same mentality.
I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that the Earth is flat. I'm not saying that space is fake. I'm not saying none of this. I'm just saying that I find it hard to believe that we went to the moon. Because we haven't been back. You have the fucking smartest man on the planet with all the fucking money. With all the fucking money. But that's what he's trying to do.
I am saying back with
Artemis
that
to make a moon base.
Fake. We live in a simulation.
Yeah,
we might be
living
robots.
in the Matrix.
Listen,
it's the same.
It's all
level.
possible, Jed. It's all possible. You need to expand your mind, brother.
Wait.
I haven't taken enough mushrooms for that to work.
Wait, I sure
how about
have,
this, Jed?
and I
how
can
about
tell
this, Jed?
you.
What if we are the aliens?
We could.
I mean, technically, we are. Everything is alien.
What if we're the aliens? What if we originated on a different planet? We colonized here because it was the only planet that could actually inhabit the aliens, the humans that we were before on that planet, and then we came here.
Well, there's evidence against part of what you're saying, but there is a scientific theory that says the initial blueprints of life, the initial single-cell organisms arrived on an interstellar object like a small asteroid or something like that created initial life. So that is entirely plausible. But the idea of being humanoid aliens on another world with advanced technology falls apart when you see the fossil records of evolution over the millennia, of how we have genetic links to things that evolved from this very planet. But the initial small single-celled organism, that is a legitimate theory in scientific community.
Which, by the way, I want to make it clear, I don't believe in that. I believe in creation. So
They're not mutually exclusive. There are a lot of Christians who believe in evolution.
Evolution and creation go hand in hand.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Do I think we fucking evolved from apes? Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely not. But like with plants and trees and fucking birds and stuff and like, yeah, there is fucking things evolve.
There's
there
evolution,
is evolution.
already in just a recorded history. I mean,
But
the average height was a lot lower 100, 200 years ago, and even further before that. We evolved in our height based on our environment. The same thing on a millennia to a millions of years scale.
Well, dude,
I mean, even more drastic difference.
Evolution exists. But did we evolve from apes? Absolutely fucking not.
You can accept the microcosms of evolution over a few hundred centuries. And for the chat, people pointed out the average height was lower in the past. I'm not saying that it was impossible for taller people. There's always outliers. But if you can accept evolution on a small scale over the last few hundred years, take that amount of tiny changes and put it on millions and millions of years worth of scale. And a lot of things can change. If so much happens within a few centuries, imagine what can happen in a few million years. It's the same thing with dogs. What were dogs fucking looking like 100 years ago? We took over their evolution and made them what they are in just a century. Now, with random selection, it takes a lot longer than that. But the same thing that happened to dogs can happen to other species over millennia of evolution. It's the time scale that's hard to wrap your mind around. But with the time scales involved, we can evolve from anything.
Unless
adaptation
you don't
is a
believe
subset of
what they
evolution.
say about time. Jed, do you know about the mud flood? Let's talk about the mud flood.
I do know about the mud floods.
I know nothing about the mud flood.
It states that about 150 years ago, I believe, there was a massive, almost world-spanning, super advanced, like well beyond us, technological empire. And they were wiped out for whatever reason. There were mud floods that buried their civilization. And then the Illuminati or somebody came together and made up all of human history to make the super advanced people not exist. All these conspiracy theories, they rely on hundreds to thousands to even millions of people to be working together for virtually no reasonable end. So yeah, those mud floods, it relies on every scientist who study archaeology, everyone who does history, every single person who does any research, anyone with a fucking shovel to participate in this lie that human history was poor compared to what we are now. It's bizarre. The mud floods.
I admire you so deeply, Jed, to just believe the narrative, brother.
Okay, how about
believe
this?
that the mud floods aren't real?
Dinosaurs
weren't real. Never happened.
So the Bible does speak about behemoths.
They do.
They speak about behemoths.
And giants.
And giants.
And aliens.
But a lot of the fossils that we see in the museums, the Smithsonian and stuff is all resin. It's all fake. And none of it's fucking real. Everything that you have seen with your own eyes in any kind of fucking museum, I don't care how fucking old the museum is, the best museum in the fucking world that you go to, if you're looking at a fucking dinosaur fossil, it's fake. It's a fucking resin fucking copy.
That's not true. Some of them are to make good displays, but there are actual bones. They're not. If you see a full, complete dinosaur skeleton, most likely, most, if not all of that is fake, because we always find fragments or broken bones or stuff like that.
All right.
But there are
some mutual ground
ones.
here.
Yeah, but there in museums there are actual fossils, there are actual bones. They're just not the crazy displayed ones where they're like all pinned together and like that. Like if you see a full skeleton posing, that one's fake. That one was made for a display.
Also, the Big Bang Theory, Big Bang, that's God. That's God.
And scientists don't argue against that. And scientists actually, this is a big thing with a misunderstanding among normal people. Scientists don't believe the Big Bang was the start of creation. They say that is the farthest back that we can track everything. We don't know what happened before that. So it's not, scientists aren't saying that's the creation of the universe. That's the creation of what we know as the universe. And the Big Bang, the term, wasn't actually created by scientists. It was created by a monk or a religious figure making fun of the theory, and it just stuck, and scientists just had to accept that. But scientists didn't initially call it the Big Bang Theory. They are not calling it the creation of the universe. It's the formation of the world or the universe as we can perceive it as. And scientists are very clear about, we're not saying what created that. We're not saying it's not God. We're not saying that there wasn't something beforehand. This is just the earliest event that we can pinpoint.
Yeah, because I mean, like, if God's going to be like, yeah, life, planets, boom, obviously there's going to be a fucking fuck.
Sure, absolutely.
An explosion, a bang. That's what would happen. You know what I actually might believe in more than dinosaurs? What dinosaurs might have been? I find it very interesting. I do find it very interesting. In a lot of these depictions, cave drawings, you know, a lot of fucking ancient books, fucking dragons with wings and shit, fucking fire breathing and shit. For thousands of fucking years, we see these fucking drawings of these fucking creatures that are fucking dragons. Like, what the fuck happened to them? What happened to them? What's going on? It's not like these people just fucking came up with this on their own. They had to have seen something, because everything that we dream of, that we imagine, is something that we have seen in some sort of art or one or another. But to create that art, you have had to have seen something close enough to it to come up with that. So when we have all these fucking ancient art of these fucking dragons, what the fuck happened?
Well, and it translates through different societies too.
But they're always in dragon serpent form.
So they're in serpentine form, but like ancient Greek dragons, they didn't have wings or legs. They're just basically giant snakes. Chinese dragons are very different from what a traditional English dragon.
Some of them don't have arms. Some of them do have arms. Some of them, their arms are on their fucking wings and shit.
But I am actually a big proponent of a lot of things from mythology were inspired by real world events or creatures or stuff like that. Because, I mean, even in the smallest scale, weather was a big deal to ancient societies. And so they attributed this life-giving force of weather to deities like Zeus or whatnot. So the idea of there being dragons, it's not possible. I think the mechanics of their size versus wings make it unlikely that they were flying dragons. But I could believe that there were dinosaur-like creatures that resembled dragons that coexisted with humans at one point. There isn't fossil records to counteract that. There's not historical evidence to counteract that or support it. It's one of those things where it's a neutral idea that's fun to theorize about and could go absolutely either way. I think the biggest problem is their sheer scale. The type of wings that they would need to have to actually fly are something that we can't currently comprehend of. So I would see them as flightless dragons. But yeah, no, dragons could absolutely have been real based on the evidence that we have currently.
It's interesting. But no, I don't think we went to the moon.
Nope, we didn't
go. I'm just being a dick, Jed. I'm sorry. But I'm on the fence about it. I'm on the fence about it. I don't believe. I like questioning
Let me ask you,
it.
What level of evidence would you need to say that we actually went to the moon? Because we have witness statements
to see it with
Apollo
my own
I want to see it with my
own fucking eyes. You would have to go to the moon. You would have to physically go to the moon.
No,
pretty much landing site.
I want to see Elon Musk on the moon with his fucking flamethrower gun, fucking firing his fucking flamethrower. But there's no oxygen in space. But I think Elon could do it.
He could probably do it.
I mean, there wouldn't be a flamethrower, but yeah, he in conjunction. So Elon is working on two separate projects to Mars right now. He is doing his own project that we know where he wants to kind of straight shot it to Mars and get people on there in the next 20 years, we'll say. But he's also working in conjunction with the Artemis project at NASA. And Artemis is Artemis 2, I think, is what they're on currently. Their mission is just to go back to the moon like the Chinese, or I believe it was the Japanese government. That's what it was. The Japanese government just went back to the moon, went to the South Pole, and we got full footage of that. Artemis with SpaceX is trying to get back to the moon. They'll build a moon base there. And then NASA is going to use that as the stepping stone to get to Mars. So we can absolutely see Elon on the moon in the near future. And in the next 10 years, I think it's pretty easy to bet that Elon will be on the moon. And I'm one of those weird people. If Elon or really anybody else came up to me and it's like, hey, do you want to get in a spaceship and go that way till you die? Do you want to go? I'm going to fucking go. I don't care which direction he pointed as long as it wasn't directly at the sun.
Dude, I couldn't, dude.
I'd do it.
I couldn't do it. I'm good.
I'd colonize Mars. I'd colonize the moon. I'd do it all. I don't know what I'd be useful as besides a storyteller, but
I just want to keep I want to keep my boots on the ground, bro. I'm good.
That's right.
We'll just be laughing at. They're saying it in the chat. I knew this was going to come up. The waving flag, like Beardo said, they talked about it on Mythbusters. The amount of waving it does actually makes more sense in a vacuum than it does on Earth. There's a bar across the top of the flag so it can pose.
Yes.
And has anyone stuck something into the ground? You stick it into the ground and then you kind of twist it down. That is the natural human thing. Like if you're building fence, that's what I did. You give it that extra twist. So astronauts did that, twisted it, and it flopped. But on Earth, air resistance would catch the waving flag and gradually slow it. The waving was aggressive and for a while.
It's momentum.
Because, it's momentum that isn't being contradicted by atmosphere. So the fact that it's waving so much is more indicative of a no atmosphere than atmosphere. Because, and a breeze would be blowing it consistently in one way. It was equally aggressive in both directions.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I'm not arguing against you, man. I'm not arguing against you. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence. I'm not arguing one or each way.
You'll believe it.
I just like questioning it. You know,
I think I like the debate. Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, everything should be questioned when you don't have all the evidence. That is how science is done, is you repeatedly test something, a hypothesis.
That's how it's supposed to be done. The problem is that scientists now have a motivation to not be honest across the board due to funding. And this goes, a prime example is COVID, right? And this continues over and over again, where we don't tend to go back to step one for anything, right? Because we start at step 23 or wherever, right? Because funding doesn't want to start by step one of people, the companies, the people that pay the money so scientists are now at a point where they are incentivized to not do science the way that it's supposed to be done, and or to say things in a certain way to make things present in a certain way because of where the money's coming from. That's my. I can
absolutely agree that funding can affect things more for some people than other people, and absolutely that's something to contend with. But we shouldn't always go back to step one when that research has been done. Once something has been peer reviewed, repeatedly tested, like the theories of Einstein, you need to base yourself on those assumptions being true, those theories being true, and build from there so that you can make progress. If we're constantly going back to step one, you're repeating a lot of territory. But once they're rigorously tested, you need to operate as if they're true unless you have a legitimate reason to question them. So, yes, science is done through questioning, trial and error over and over again, and rigorous peer reviewing. Absolutely. But once that has been done, you need to move forward with it as the truth until something new has been discovered. Otherwise, you'll be wasting a lot of time, and our
what you're saying is
will grind to a near halt.
We landed on the moon. The next step is to land on the sun.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I encourage it. I think we should.
I think we should try.
I have a good old college try. We need to get close to there for a Dyson sphere to be real, and if we ever want to harness the power of the sun, we need to get very close. So, we need but actually landing.
Dude, if we can get that Dyson sphere and make some powerful vacuums, dude, that'd be fucking awesome.